I really like how these days art is so accessible. I can just spend 5-10 minutes a day on Instagram and explore different artists. That's really useful for me as an artist to see what's out there, have inspiration from that. You look everywhere and there's art, so it does infiltrate your life in so many different ways where you don't realize it. Anything really you see in the world is art. My name is Claudia Yu and I am an artist working in London, and I am originally from Hong Kong. I like to explore themes of hyperreality and the uncanny, which is why I paint a lot of things like the AI. Like, you look at it, you think it's real, but upon a closer inspection, you sort of think, oh, wait a second, it doesn't look quite right. It's more about the viewer, how they look at it, how they perceive it from a different perspective. So it's more about how someone else is feeling about my work rather than how I am feeling about it. When I was younger, I'd always watch Shrek, and I'd go to bed thinking about the movie, and then when I go to bed looking up to my wall, I'd still see an image of it. I guess Shrek is just a major inspiration in my life, in art and its philosophy of being true to yourself, and also artistically. I love the themes of uncanniness and the way that it animates human characters. It's not quite human, but it's so very realistic. When I started my paintings, I was looking at pixelation and things that are specific to the camera, like camera grains and all that. And then I moved on to looking at digital glitch and distortion. But now I'm more drawn to looking at digital images and how it's created. That's sort of my inspiration now, to look at AI and technology and how I can use that into a more traditional form of oil painting. I love going to galleries and museums, the portrait gallery, to get me inspired. When I'm working, I often just look at my work 24/7, and I think it's really important, again, to take a step back and look at different things, go get inspired, just walk around museum, a very quiet environment just to freshen my mind. When I paint in such a photorealistic manner, the audience will often think, what is the point? Because there is a camera, there is AI, and so why spend all that labor, time to invest in a piece? I guess my approach is just very traditional, like back in the Tudor times, You are spending all that labor and time into just one snapshot of a moment. I like the idea of a triptych. A lot of my influences, again, are from very ancient painting, and one of them being Hieronymus Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights. I just like the sort of pure human imagination from that early on in human civilization, that you're able to just create something out of thin air pretty much. And I think that's really inspiring for me. This piece is directly influenced by a Lowry painting, also called Picadilly Circus, and I wanted to make it a contemporary version of it by using technology and AI. Every element is AI generated. I used text prompts for individual elements, and then I just used Photoshop to put everything together and create one complete image, and from there I just sort of painted it. Because AI is so unstable and it doesn't quite get the nuance of human intelligence, so quite often, especially in the faces, you can see that it's just not quite a human face, and it just brings out that uncanny element to the work that I want to explore. I'm looking at London as a city and how it inspires me, and how living in London, there's chaos around, and I think the Lowry painting really encapsulates that feeling of hustle and bustle of the city. It's been a long journey, I suppose. When I was little, growing up in Hong Kong, I just took loads of art classes because everyone's more focused on the academics and all that. It wasn't taken seriously. Art was just sort of shunned to the side. So yeah, I just sort of painted and doodled and all that just for fun. And then it was until I moved to England that I was allowed that more free-thinking environment to explore it in a more serious manner. The first time I think I was moved by an artwork I was in year 9. I came to London for a school trip or something, and I saw this painting by Hughes. It's like a forced perspective painting, and when you look at it from a different angle, it sort of moves with you. And that was my first moment of, wow, art can be so amazing. When I looked at the Edward VI painting at the National Portrait Gallery, there is this sort of interactivity with an artwork, with the audience. You have to look at it, you have to work around it, look at it differently to see what it is. I like to use AI, not as a means to an end, but rather using it as a tool to create my paintings. Just like when camera was first created, people would think it's not really art because you can just capture it. There definitely is that sort of debate of, oh, is AI art? The point I want to drive home is that I am using AI as a tool in my art. That's why when I paint, it's so manual. I sit there and paint all day long. Whereas AI is so instant, but I would argue that artists should use it not as a means to an end and just use it like people in the 19th century using camera. With my painting, it's very meticulous, it's very detail-oriented. So my approach to my work is very, very clinical. I come in every day, I pick up a paintbrush, I can sit there for hours. So I think rugby for me gives me an outlet from all this to bring out my extroverted self, as opposed to sitting down just really, really focused on one single thing. It does give me a fresh perspective when I go out, breathe fresh air, play some rugby, get that physical out my system, and then I come in with a fresh mind, and then I can just go in with a focus again and paint. Everyone's sort of shocked in both circles. With my art friends, oh, you play rugby, really? Oh, I can't see that from you. And whereas when I play rugby, they're like, oh, really? It's just definitely breaking a stereotype here, I think. Us artists can play sports too. I do think art is for everyone. When I came to England, I was allowed the creative freedom to explore art, and I think that's really important to a person's well-being. Especially living in London, everyone's so busy, just chaotic environment, and sometimes the person just needs to take a second and step back and experience art. Definitely on the mental aspect especially, I think it is very important for a person to take a step back away from the world, and that's my inspiration. And of course, Shrek.